guys, and welcome back to another video on the Detailing Detectives YouTube channel. And today we're testing the new Instadry towel from AutoGlym. So this is a super absorbent drying towel. Yeah, it's a different type of feel to the sort of like conventional microfiber drying towel. So yeah, on the videos on their Instagram and Facebook, it does look like it absorbs a lot of water. So I'm going to put it to the test today with this work car. So yeah, this hasn't got any protection on, so hopefully yeah, we're going to put this to the real test, because if the car has got like some sort of protection on, then yeah, it's going to make it easier for it. So let's go ahead and wash this, and then we'll come back after we've washed it, and yeah, we'll see how this performs. So I'm just going to time lapse the wash process, because we've seen it 1,000 times before, and then yeah, we'll go right to the drying stage. Okay, so as you can see, there's no protection on it. I don't know whether the camera's picking it up that well, but the water is stuck around. So what we're going to do, yeah, we're just going to dry it off with the Instadry towel. So it does sort of feel a bit sort of hard, but I guess that's because it's bone dry. I presume when it gets wet, it'll come a bit, well, it'll loosen up a bit. So yeah, I'm just going to start drying the bonnet off and seeing if it, well, instantly dries. So we'll start from the left hand side and work to the right, and then yeah, we'll see what the results are. Okay, so just doing that one wipe, that is pretty much dry. You can see the drying towel is getting a bit wet, but that's fine. Okay, so as the cloth gets wet, it does sort of like loosen up a lot. Before, when it's dry like that, it does feel like you could rip it. It sort of feels like a dry leather of back in the days when people used to use leathers on the car. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the side. I'll switch the camera now, and then we'll see how much of the car we can do without wringing it out. So I've done sort of the bonnet and not even half the roof, but yeah, it's getting too wet and it's leaving sort of like marks, well not marks, but it's leaving water behind. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to wring it out like the instructions say. After I've dried the car, I will go through the instructions and how to use it. They're fairly simple, you use it like a normal drying towel. So yeah. Okay, so that's wrung out. Yeah, let's start again. So as soon as you have wrung it out, yeah, it dries a lot better on the glass. I think with this cloth, so far anyway, as I'm finding, if it's got a lot of water in, it doesn't dry glass at all. It dries paint quite well when it's slightly, well, when it's absorbed some water, but I think it needs to be either solid bone dry or just freshly wrung out to dry glass. So yeah, so far that's my thoughts. So let's carry on. Okay, so you've just seen some shots there of me drying the car. First initial thoughts. Just looking at it, this is a dry one. I did get sent 2 of these from AutoGlym. So just looking at it, it doesn't look that big to start off with, and it feels sort of like a leather that you used to use back in the days before drying towels. So it is quite rough. Well, it's not rough, but it is hard before getting it wet. Also, well, and then when you go to dry your car, it does actually dry it pretty well. So when it starts to get a bit wet, yeah, the performance does go down like quite a lot. But as soon as you wring it out and start again, it works perfectly fine. So with this car, I sort of did the front end and then sort of half of one side, and then had to wring it out. Yeah, before it started sort of like the performance started decreasing. Also, another thing that I did notice is if the towel is a tiny bit wet, drying the windows, you've got no hope. It needs to be freshly wrung out or bone dry to dry the windows perfectly. So if you are drying the windows when it is a little bit wet, it does leave water on the windows, so that's one tip. Also, as I was going around the car, because it's quite cold, it's about 0 degrees, when wringing the cloth out, it wrung out quite well, but I found myself sort of like wanting to wring it out more. What I did find is, if you get, I don't know whether this is, well, I don't know whether AutoGlym would sort of like approve this or not, but going back to sort of like how we used to use the levers with a warm bucket of water, you soak the cloth in there and then wring it out. So I'll just show you now. So we've got the red hot bucket of water, the cloth's in here, and if you wring it out, it does wring out pretty much bone dry. So I don't know, just after using the towel sort of like halfway around the car, I thought I'd give it a go with the warm bucket of water. So when the towel does get too wet, dunk it in the bucket of water to warm the towel up, and then wring it out, and yeah, it performs a lot better, especially on these colder days. I suppose in summer it won't actually be that bad, because yeah, the water on the car won't be nearly freezing. So yeah, that might be just because of how cold it is, but I did find that quite useful, and it sort of sped up the process of wringing the water out. These cloths, I don't know whether I prefer them to drying towels or not. With drying towels, you sort of get that one sort of like shot with them at drying. So yeah, once they're pretty much soaking wet, you can't really wring them out because the water holds in them. With drying towels, with these, you can use them over and over again, and yeah, when you wring them out, they do get pretty dry. So yeah, you probably could get a good few cars out of these. It does say to wash it after every few cars. Again, well, these are machine washable, so you can just throw them in with your microfibers or whatever you like your normal washing maybe. I don't know how well they'll wash, but yeah, these cloths, just reading the instructions, you just use them like a normal drying towel, apart from you wring them out when they get too wet. Yeah, my overall thoughts with this product, I quite like it and it works well. It does dry the car, especially when it's wet, like when it's cold like this. But it only dries the car really, really well in these sort of conditions if you sort of like use the warm bucket method. But in summer, I think it'll dry your car pretty well. I know I always go back to sort of most products are good in winter, most products are good in summer. But yeah, this one, I think when it's the colder months, I think you should use the bucket of water. One, to keep your hands warm, because yeah, the water on the car does get cold, and to warm the cloth up so you can wring it out a lot easier. So these cloths, they're $11.99 each. I'll put the links below for these. The good, well, I guess your drying towels are about the same, but if you don't get a decent drying towel, you are gonna probably have to buy two to dry a car. and especially if a car's bigger than this. So if you've got, I don't know, like a Range Rover or a pickup truck, something more, well, with more paintwork on and more body to it, yeah, you might need 2 or 3 drying towels depending on the quality of them. But with these, yeah, you can just wring them out and carry on. So that's, well, that's one thing that I do like about these. You can literally just carry on drying the car until it's bone dry. Yeah, and that's about it for this product. The product's called InstaDry, and it does dry your car pretty much instantly. So yeah, go check it out. Cheers for the guys at AutoGlym, Sean, who hit me up with these products. He sent me a massive box of products, 2 of each product actually, of all the new range. So we've got the wheel cleaner to review, and we've got the full Polar Blast range to review as well. So look out for those in the coming weeks to months. But for now, this was the InstaDry. I'll put all the links below for this product and AutoGlym themselves. And yeah, make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you next Sunday.
Alright folks, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to YouTube and add us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Ta-ra!